into the presentation, that would be good to go. And let's see here. Great, looks like we're recording. And here we go. So I am a certified constant contact partner, but I do have my own business, and I'll tell you a little bit more about myself in a moment. But Constant Contact provides us with these really great slides. And so we're going to stick to the slides, and then we're going to kind of bounce out of the slides. I like to be very conversational in my presentations. And this presentation really is for you. It's not me standing up here as like a talking head, although it will probably feel that way. But I really do want to make sure that you walk away with your questions answered. And so obviously, if you didn't hear the news already, social media can really help you grow. But it doesn't have to be overwhelming or take a lot of time. I tell customers this all the time when they come to me and they're like, well, you know, people say I need to be here and I need to be here, and I don't really understand this platform and I don't really know what to do. And I think it's really important to make sure that you don't get yourself overwhelmed. Start with where you are. That's what I think is like the most important thing anywhere in business. So the reason that social media is out there and is really important for you is because your consumers really do want to find you. So 21% of consumers are more likely to buy from brands that can be reached on social media. When you think about social media, I would be curious to know, or not even just social media, but like when you're looking for a business, drop in the chat. I'd love for you guys to be engaging by using the chat box. But when you're searching for a business, where is it that you typically go when you're looking for information about a business? So just share that in the chat box. But typically, well, yeah, exactly. Google reviews. We're going on our phones. We're going on our computers. We're going online somewhere. And so most people are in their social media periodically throughout the day. And so it's definitely really important that you have some sort of a presence. Social media is something that you can use to influence people. And so, you know, a lot of people, because if you think about just sales and marketing in general, people buy from people they know, like, and trust. And so social media is really all about networking, right? Like if we see somebody that is referring a business to us, or, you know, if we see that our friend is liking a business and we're like, oh, I was thinking of buying from them, you know, oh, it looks like Sarah, she goes there, I'm going to check them out too. You know, this is something that's going to be really important for you to take, you know, take into consideration when you're thinking about your strategies. For nonprofits, which it didn't seem like we really had any nonprofits on here today, but they may be watching this recording, nonprofits can really be harnessing social media as a low-cost way to encourage support for their cause. And, you know, social media has done a lot of things over the years to really up the way that they allow people to engage and show what they care about, and even do donation drives through things like, you know, like the Facebook tools that are out there for encouraging donations. So again, I'm sure you're seeing the theme here. Social media is definitely something that you want to consider for your business, which is why you're all here. Some of you are already using it, and that's great. You're just trying to figure out what you can do differently today. So this is what the presentation covers. It's just about choosing the right social networks, 15-minute social media plan, getting started with paid ads. And obviously, as I mentioned, we're going to go through these slides, and we're also going to pop off of the slides because I do want to make sure that we're really answering questions that are relevant to you. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Allison Profit. And my business is Profit Coach. And yes, I was actually born with the last name Profit. It's spelled like making money, but it's got two F's. So I like to say more is better. And what I actually do in my business, I'm actually going to stop sharing my slides for a moment because I'm going to tell you a little bit about my story. So what I do in my business is I actually am a business coach, and I focus on teaching small service-based businesses how to sell from a heart-centered and soul-aligned place. And that might make you scratch your head and say, well, how are you here? Why are you talking about Constant Contact? So my journey actually started, I worked in human resources for about 15 years. I went to school for HR. I have a bachelor's and master's degree in it. And I really thought that working in HR is what I was going to be doing forever. And I loved it. I loved the business aspect of it. I loved the employee advocacy part of it, and really just enjoyed kind of having my hands in all the things and making an impact in that way. And as I progressed in my career, I really enjoyed the training and leadership development and coaching aspect of things. And so I actually decided to go get a professional coaching certification. I was hoping to start my own business and move into the corporate coaching world. And life had different plans for me. I ended up losing my HR job, and that was in January of 2017. And a lot of different things happened for me in my life. As those of you know, in the entrepreneur journey, if you ever know small business owners or started a small business or have had that desire, it comes with a lot of risk. And there's always ups and downs. And so that really was my story. I tried to start my coaching business a couple of times. I tried to go back into HR when those coaching businesses didn't work. Those jobs didn't work because really I don't think it was where I was supposed to be. I was supposed to have my own business. And so as I was going through that whole journey, I went through some personal changes, and as I was getting a divorce, I needed a job, and the job that I ended up getting was a sales position at Constant Contact. And I remember when I was hired for this job, I wasn't looking for it. I was connected to somebody that worked there. I was going to do some admin work for her on the side. And she was like, "You'd be great at sales at Constant Contact." And I was like, "You're crazy. I don't know what you're talking about. Sales is like not what I'm good at." And that's why my other businesses failed, because I couldn't make sales. And she's like, no, they'll teach sales to you. And I thought, okay. I had used Constant Contact years earlier when I worked for a small consulting company. And I thought, wow, this is kind of interesting and full circle. And I think they're a great company, so let me give it a go. So I got hired there in August of 2018, and I fell in love with the company, and I turned out to be a really great salesperson. And the funny thing is that, you know, having worked in HR for all of those years, my job was always to be a steward of the culture of the company and really engage with the employees and help create the strategic direction and work on like the communication strategies and things like that. And the culture of Constant Contact really is the culture I dreamed of creating when I worked in HR. And I got to just be in it as an employee. And so I just share that because I think when we are as business owners or people that are looking for vendors in our businesses, it's always important to know those types of things about a company, because we want to work with companies that are doing good things. And I really believe that Constant Contact is a solid stand-up brand. So very quickly, I became a top sales rep, and I left there in August of last year to start my own business. I left to start a small business consulting company, and immediately after I left Constant Contact, I did become a certified reseller, which means that I meet all of their training requirements to be able to sell Constant Contact under my company's umbrella, and also to provide these kinds of trainings at no cost to chambers and small business development centers and different community organizations. So I started that small business consulting company. 4 weeks in, some stuff went down between me and my business partner, and I thought, you know what, I can do this thing by myself. And so I started Profit Coach, primarily as a marketing strategy consulting company. And I started making sales right away in my business, and people that had known my journey were like, "How are you profitable?" immediately. I was like, "Oh, it's just my last name," right? But obviously that wasn't the case. It was because I understood selling. It was because I understood how to help companies create marketing strategies, because that really was a part of the sales position at Constant Contact. Learning about the business, understanding what they're doing for their marketing, how they're engaging, how they're getting those people to take some sort of an action, and then conveying to them how they could use the Constant Contact platform or the other things that they're already doing to do that in a more impactful way. And so that's what I started to do in my business. And very quickly I realized marketing is great, getting leads and engagement is great, but if you're not converting them into sales, what's the point? Because if you're a business and you don't have sales, that means you don't have cash flow and you don't have profits. and your business will cease to exist. And I like to say that sales is the oxygen to the life of your business. And so I pivoted in November last year to really focusing on selling, but I really think that marketing is really important. So I still talk about it. I help my clients with it. And that's really why I'm here today. So thank you for letting me share a little bit more about my story. We're going to hop back over to the slides, but Constant Contact and, the other tools that are out there I think are really important. So I'm really glad that you're all here taking these steps to just learn more about your business, because I think learning is the thing that's going to keep your business growing and thriving. So let's talk a little bit about choosing the right social network. So as we talked about, social media really can help you grow. It helps you get awareness. It's a place that you can really shine light on your customer service, and you can really drive people to taking action. So in terms of the awareness aspect of it, you really want to use it to get found, like we talked about before. People are going online to look for a business. It's also a place where you can build interest. And so the customer service aspect of it is you can communicate with those people who like you and win over those who don't. So how many of you, just drop in the comments, how many of you are using social media as a way to also engage with your audience in addition to posting content? If you could drop that in the chat, that would be great. And also, as I go through, if there are any questions that bubble up for you, drop them in the chat, because I'll make sure that I go back through them. And so how many of you are really engaging as opposed to just posting in social media? Anybody? Okay, yeah, Audrey, definitely do, answering questions, comments daily, lots of engagement. That's awesome, Audrey. Using social media, perfect. Okay, so, okay, Kelly, so trying to engage, perfect. So we'll get into some conversation about how you guys are doing that shortly. And then the action, you're winning trust, you're wanting to create that craving. Stealing business, I'm not sure. I think there's more than enough business out there for all of us. So it's not really about stealing business, but I really do think it is about cultivating. It's like building your community and building your tribe. And so, and driving action. And we're going to talk a little bit about the importance of using social media in tandem with email marketing. It's not a this or that strategy. It is both. It's really, really important that you're not only doing things to build your following on social media, but you're using social media to build that know, like, and trust factor, and also to build your email list, because social media is not yours. How many of you, show of hands, maybe you'll be afraid of showing your age, but like how many of you remember MySpace? And MySpace was there one day, and then one day it was gone. And there were businesses that built their entire business on MySpace, and then MySpace went away, and so did their business. And I can't tell you how sad that makes me. The other thing that happens with social media is that, like, people's accounts get closed, or they get kind of locked out of their account. Like, these are things that actually happen. And so the driving action piece that this slide is talking about, really, in my opinion, it's not just to get them to buy things, but it really is, you do want to be using it as a tool to be growing your email list. Email marketing has been around a really long time, but that the most successful businesses have email lists, and it is because your email list is always yours, and you get to do whatever you want with it. There's no algorithms behind the scenes that are always changing. So while social media is important, and that's what we're talking about today, it is a part of the strategy. It can't be your whole strategy. Thumbs up, guys on board? Yes? Awesome, perfect. The social platform, the social platforms are proven to drive success. There are people that just, like, all of a sudden take off, and if you're a person that has been successful with that, awesome. Let's connect after this session so that I can pick your brain a little bit, because I know I don't know everything there is to know. So let's talk a little about Facebook. So Facebook is, it has a really large reach, and it's great for all kinds of businesses. And the things that you can post there are, of course, videos, photos, links. You can host events. And it's a platform that a lot of people are more comfortable with because it's been around longer, than Instagram, and you can kind of do all the things in it. So Twitter. So Twitter is really focused more on conversation and information sharing, and the things that you can post, again, similar to Facebook, videos, photos, links, and event information. So then we've got Instagram, and Instagram is powerful because it is a mobile first platform. And so the things that you can post are photos and videos. And so I will share that I was a late adopter to the Instagram world because I don't tend to do my business on my phone. Anybody, like, give me a thumbs up if you're like, yeah, I do my business on my computer, not my phone. And so Instagram is weird for me. Maybe it's only me. I don't know. But like creating graphics and like doing things on my phone, I was like, I can't handle this stuff. But I've come a long way, and I've really learned to love Instagram for a variety of reasons. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. And if I can do anything for you guys here today, I would love to help you feel more comfortable about Instagram and Facebook. Those are the platforms I'm more knowledgeable about, and we will definitely talk about the other ones with the content that Constant Contact has provided us. But I really think that Facebook and Instagram, for the kinds of businesses that are here, does make a lot of sense. LinkedIn. So LinkedIn is a profession-driven platform. So a lot of people, again, my background's in HR, so I used LinkedIn really to find job seekers, right? And to find people that knew the job seekers that I was recruiting to, you know, kind of reach out to them and get like recommendations and things like that for the people that we were hiring. But LinkedIn has really been doing a lot of work to transition their reputation. And so it is definitely a place that you want to be playing in this place if your ideal clients are there. So this isn't about just being on all the platforms. It's about understanding where are your people, like what's their playground, right? Where are they hanging out? Like if your demographic isn't really hanging out on Instagram, then you don't need to be there. If they're not hanging out on Twitter, like you probably don't need to pour tons of resources into being there. If your people are everywhere, well then yeah, you definitely can make sure that your strategy includes all of the platforms. But if you are really working with professionals, or if you're doing things in the B2B space, LinkedIn is a place that if you're not playing in that playground, it's a place you can begin exploring. And they've been trying to transition into doing more things like stories. Video is becoming more powerful there. And so it definitely is a platform that more people are getting curious about, because since it's more of a late adopter, if you are adopting over to it and doing things on there, you'll have more visibility because it's not saturated as much as Facebook and LinkedIn. So, like I said, don't be overwhelmed. You don't want to try to be everywhere. And unless you have somebody that's helping you with these things, I really do encourage you to pick one or maybe two and optimize your focus in those areas. So I want to talk a minute about Facebook and Instagram. So they are owned by the same, right? They are one and the same. And so if you're picking Facebook, you want to probably also be doing Instagram. I'm going to show you some tools that are within Constant Contact. And I'm also going to show you some tools that are outside of Constant Contact that might be useful to you in helping you ensure that you can easily cross-utilize the Facebook and Instagram platforms. So getting people to follow you. So this was one of the things that I talked about most with my clients when I worked at Constant Contact, is like, what do you do? How do you get people interested? And so one of the things that you can do is really kind of use some of the searching functions to find people that are near you or find related hashtags, and follow those hashtags and use those hashtags. So who knows what hashtags are? Or if you don't know what hashtags are, put like a question mark in the chat box, because if you don't know what hashtags are, I want to make sure that I address hashtags. I'm just going to watch my chat box over here. Take a sip of my coffee. So it seems like maybe you guys are okay with what hashtags are, but essentially what they do is it makes your content searchable. And so doing hashtag research for your company is really important. And you want to have a mix of hashtags. So you want to make sure that you have some things that are kind of a big bucket and then things that are a smaller bucket. So for example, for my business, I have hashtag profit coach. I use hashtag profit coach on a lot of my posts because as my business grows and people go and they're like, oh, what has profit coach done? And they go and search hashtag profit coach, they will find that. So in terms of the other thing getting people to follow you is ask your email list. A lot of people forget this. They're like, oh, I got to build followers. I got to build followers. And you probably already have followers. It's just people like to be told, need to be told what to do, right? And that sounds kind of silly, but you really want to make sure that you are harnessing your existing audience and asking them to take the action you want them to take. So there are some ways that you can do that. I like to kind of make the suggestion of doing different contests and things like that to get people to enter. So you could just say, you know, join my list and, you know, like, or follow our page and then, you know, drop a picture in this thread letting us know that you did follow us and, you know, you'll be entered into the drawing. So there's ways that you can get people to really be engaging you. Contests are a great way to really not only grow your following on social media, but it's also a great way to grow your email list as well. And then also ask in person. I mean, when you are already engaged with somebody, that's the best time to do it. So why don't we do that here? Everybody, drop your handles in the chat box and let's just do each other a favor and just drop your handle, drop where you are, and let's make sure before we get off today's call that we go and follow each other. Because what happens when you grow your following is as those people engage, you are going to increase the likelihood that the post and the stuff is getting out there in front of people. So asking in person is a really great way to do that. So the 15-minute social media plan. So we're going to just talk about, you know, there's these three goals, right? Awareness, customer service, and action. And so if you just kind of break it down into like 5 minutes for each of these each day, it can be pretty simple. And, you know, one of the things that I coach my clients in is that sometimes we're just too close to it. And this is why, like, you know, most successful businesses, they use other services. So like, you know, I'm a coach, but I have a coach because there are just some things that I'm too close to. So if you are finding it hard to create your own strategy, like reach out, like these are really important things. And so find somebody that can help you, even if it's somebody that's maybe in a similar business and you guys are accountability partners of some sort. Like sometimes it's easy when you're doing this with like somebody else, maybe even just setting up like a working session or something with somebody that is doing something similar to you, and you can bounce those ideas off of each other. Because sometimes we are overcritical of our own ideas, and having somebody read the thing that you just wrote and be like, oh, that's brilliant. It's like, oh, I was being hypercritical of it and I thought it was stupid. I mean, we all have imposter syndrome about our own stuff, about the words we write, and, you know, having that other little bit of kind of eyeballs on it can be really powerful. So the first part is of your social strategy is thinking about what can you do to generate awareness. So it's not just, you know, with social media, just like any other marketing, it's not just all about buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing. It is about teaching. It is about dripping information. So on this, you know, you can see this Jack's Backyard Barbecue. You know, we don't just do ribs, you know, we do these other things, and then they have a link to their menu there. You know, you could do a video, posting a very simple video, or even sharing other tips or infographics. You can even cross-share other content that is potentially relevant to your business, but maybe it's not an article that you wrote. Like you're just sharing information that you think would be relevant to your people. Because then you're positioning yourself as a business that really cares and you're building awareness. The other thing is that providing customer service. So all of these things that you can see here are actually some of the Constant Contact people. So Constant Contact is known for their customer service. And so if you follow them on social media, you'll find that, you know, they're very responsive. And, you know, it's a really, really great thing for you guys to think about as well. Like, how can you be providing customer service through social media? And so the third piece of your social media strategy plan is really that encouraging action. And so having a call to action of some sort is powerful. And so the call to action doesn't need to be buy my thing. It could be take our poll. It could be share your comments below. It could be a variety of different things, but really encouraging action of some sort to get that engagement. Because with social media, you know, their goal is to keep people on the platform. And so by keeping people on the platform, if your business does that effectively by getting people to like, to comment, to share, you are going to have a higher result in those algorithms that are behind the scenes of the social media machine. Now, so I love this part of the presentation, repurpose your content to save time. So how many of you have, hold on, I'm going to stop my share for a moment. How many of you have websites? Show of hands or drop in the comment box. Okay, great. So some people have websites. How many of you have blogs? How many, okay, a little bit. How many of you already do email marketing? Perfect. So you have content at your fingertips, okay? You don't need to recreate the wheel. You can go back in the reaches of whatever you've already created, and you can utilize that information in your social media posts. Some people are like, oh my God, well, what if they saw the thing on my website and now they see it on my social media? It doesn't matter. Like, that's okay. The more times people see things, the more it's going to stick into their head. And you're assuming that people are looking at all your stuff all the time, and they're not, because they're busy, right? They're living life, they're working their businesses. So repurpose your content. It makes perfect sense. It's interesting, you know, the cobbler's children has no shoes often. So even though I worked at Constant Contact and I promote how important it is to have an email list, I wasn't really good at doing my email marketing because I was like, oh my God, where am I going to get content? And then I realized I'm posting on social media every day. Why don't I just repurpose that awesome content that I'm working with my social media manager to create and utilize it in my email marketing? So that cross-utilizing content strategy is so powerful. Like, don't forget, you probably already have content. Or if you do presentations or if you teach things in your business, go through stuff that you teach and what you do in your business. Any materials that your business has, whether it's your business or you work for a company, like, go and find stuff, right? If you are a company that has employees and things like that, you can certainly, you know, find like fun things in the business that you can go out there and share. You know, maybe there's some wins, maybe you can highlight employees. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that you can do in terms of the content strategy. So this is going to repeat things that I've already said. So share your email content, share your blog content, and again, you can adjust the message for each platform. So every platform does have different kind of things that they have around them, like character limits and things that you can share in terms of links and things of that nature. So that's something that you'll want to keep in mind. So as I mentioned before, in terms of the content, you also can find and share industry news. So content doesn't just all need to be your content. You're not the only business out there in the world doing whatever it is that you're doing. And so use the other things that are out there, because what that's going to do is it's going to position you as a company that's in the know. And so there's lots of ways that you can find content. This is saying a Twitter advanced search. I don't really use Twitter because I am a long-winded person, and if you try to get me into that many characters, it's not going to happen. So it's all about knowing yourself and your audience. Like, Twitter is not fun for me because I can't, I'm a long form writer. I'm not short form at all. So know your audience as well as yourself, especially if you are watching this and you are a small business and you don't have like a department that's doing these things for you. Feedly.com, you know, another thing too, I'll show you on LinkedIn. There's some pretty cool things on LinkedIn that you can harness and is really great to kind of show you the news that's trending. And so you can kind of use and share some of those things from LinkedIn as well. So I'll show you that in a moment. And then getting started with paid social advertising. So me and paid ads have an interesting relationship. When I worked at Constant Contact, I would have people that said, you know, that they were pouring money into paid ads and they weren't getting any results. And it broke my heart because these were like small business owners. And then they'd be like, well, I don't want to spend, you know, $45 a month or $20 a month on my Constant Contact because I'm putting all this money in ads and I'm not seeing any results. And it's like, oh my gosh, like, okay, so you're spending $1,000 paying this ads manager, but you don't want to do $20 a month to like try to grow your email list, which you actually have more control over, and things like that. But I've changed my relationship with paid ads because paid ads can do really good things for your business, but you have to understand what you're doing. And again, those strategies change all the time. I do think that people can play around with it on their own, but you want to be careful about not just randomly pouring money into it. A lot of times I'll tell people you can figure things out on your own, but I do believe that paid ads is one of those things that you really want to make sure that you're ready for it. And I've got some resources that I can help you with. And, you know, Constant Contact does have tools that can help you with your ad strategies. I'm one of those people, like, even though I am a certified partner with Constant Contact and they have tools that help you with that, I am still going to say you want to make sure you understand what you're doing when it comes to paid ads before you just go out there and do it. I want to first and foremost protect the consumer and make sure that you're like not just randomly pouring money, because money is one of the most important assets in your business. And so, you know, it's time and money and you need to leverage them effectively. So, so social media has changed. As I mentioned, we're going to go through these slides and then we're going to kind of hop off here and we'll have more dialogue. So, you know, ads, as this slide says, you know, ads can be cost effective, but they can also be hard to understand. And so when you are running ads, you want to do a few things. You want to make sure that you're targeting the right audience. So when you're running ads, there's lots of different things that you can do. And the platforms have made it fairly easy to kind of back into some of these things. But again, somebody that has a little bit of ads experience would be really great to partner with to make sure that you understand, like, what is it that you should be looking at for this. And there are two different ways that you can build your audiences. So you can create your own custom audience, and then you can create your lookalike audience. I am not an ads expert. You know, this is a presentation to sort of give you a taste of some of this content. I have a person that helps me with these kinds of things because I don't want to spend my money, you know, in a way that doesn't make sense. So. And then design and publish your ad. So designing your ad, you know, there's a lot of different ways that you can run ads. You can include videos, you can create images. And the thing with ads, like anything in business, is, you know, you can't just try something one time and be like, that didn't work. But if you do try something a bunch of times and you're doing it the same way over and over and over again and you're getting the same results, like that's the definition of insanity, right? So you do want to make sure that you're understanding what you're looking at as you're running ads and testing out different things. So if you do a video and the video doesn't seem to work, you know, maybe do the video again, but try slightly different content with the video in terms of the written content, or maybe it's the audience, or maybe it was the call to action. So if the video doesn't work, then maybe try an image, and you could try an image that's you with like making some kind of like, you know, excited face about your product, or you could do something that's more stock image. So there's lots of different ways to design your ads, and it really is uniquely individual to your business and your audience, because your audience is going to be unique and what they like is going to be different, and what they engage in is going to be specific to them. And so this is just kind of giving a little bit of kind of view of the different ways that your ads can look. And so with regards to how you can harness the power of constant contact with your social ads. So Constant Contact does have integrated ad tools. And there are some best practices when it comes to your ads, in particular with the call to action. So if you are running paid ads, my recommendation, and they taught us this at Constant Contact as well, is you don't want to just drive that traffic to your website, because what happens when you go to a website? You click around, right? You're there, you're clicking around, you're, you know, what's this, and then before you know it, like you're on their Facebook page and then you're lost in the Facebook scrolling world, right? Or if like somebody clicks on your ad, and in the days when like we actually worked in offices and like we were in that shared office environment, if your like boss walks into the door and you're like scrolling around on the internet, they're gonna like close the window that they're at. And you've just paid for somebody to go to your website and click that close button. Does that make sense? So when you're running ads, the call to action, you want it to be something that's going to get you to capture them, right? So having some sort of way that you're like capturing their email address in some way, or that they're clicking a thing that gets them to follow your social page. Like you want it to be something that is capturing that as a lead somehow, whether it is email or a social lead, so that you are actually paying for something, as opposed to just somebody went to your website, now you paid for that click and they closed the website and you got nothing in return for it. So these are some of the things that are important when you're talking about running ads that people don't always think about. So, and if you run ads with an ads manager, they might not tell you that. They might just be like, oh yeah, like, well, oh, your goal is to drive traffic to your website. Cool, I'll run you an ad to drive traffic to your website. They may not tell you like why that isn't the best use of your money. So, so with the integrations with Constant Contact, you can set up some automated series. So, you know, when somebody clicks on your call to action in the ad, if it is something like, you know, oh, click here to grab my free, you know, tips to finding the best house for you for, you know, our realtor friends that are watching. You can set up email automation so that when that person, you know, clicks that lead magnet, there is some sort of email automation that's going to them. So some way that you're engaging them beyond just the click in the ad. And so this is giving you just a preview to the Constant Contact ads platform. So you are able to connect your social media platforms in with Facebook and Instagram within Constant Contact. And so this just gives you a sense that like what it would look like if you were running ads in there. You can then actually view all the analytics and have it all in one place, which does make it really nice to do that. So we're going to hop into a demo here in just a few moments. But first I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I'd love to just kind of just open it up, and I'd love for you to just like unmute yourself, and any questions that are bubbling up, or if you learned something new in that little presentation that we did, I'd love to hear what you learned. So I might go around the room real quick, unless you guys just unmute yourself and share openly. Suzanne?
Well, with like the hashtags, so we use hashtags on Facebook and Instagram and on LinkedIn too. But always, you know, just kind of, I guess I don't always know what the best ones to use, how many to use. I like your idea of the sort of the big bucket or broad hashtags, and then some more, I guess, descriptive ones, or some more that are just to us and our business. But how do you know if the hashtags are working?
How do you know if the hashtags are working? Yeah, that is a great question. I don't know if anybody knows the answer to that. To be perfectly honest with you, and again, I did kind of share in the beginning of my introduction, like I am not a social media expert, right? Like this content is provided by Constant Contact, and I know enough. I probably know more than some of you on the phone here, right? So, but the truth is that like it's hard to know if it's working, but like the way that it works is it's a search engine, right? So it's like, it's just like Google, right? Like everybody wants to make sure they can be found on Google, right? Because we all know that that's where people are going. Mm-hmm. So if people are searching on hashtags, like you want to be in the hashtags that your people might be hanging out in. It's kind of the same thing, right? It's like, well, how are people finding you on Google? I mean, they can find you in a million different ways. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess you just want to be seen, be part of the conversation, and hope that it's and working. What I've learned from my social media manager, because I'm a kind of person who like I don't love social media. Like in my personal life, I'm on it a little bit. And so that was the first investment I made in my business. Like 6 months in, I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like I'm gonna pay for this person to help me because I knew how important it was. And one of the things she taught me about hashtags is like you don't always want to be using the same exact hashtags. So you do want to be mixing it up because that's going to mix up like what is happening behind the scenes of like all of the algorithms and all of like those search databases. I mean, like there's so much behind the scenes of like all of this like online monster. So you do want to make sure that it's not like you're just only using the same hashtags over and over and over again. Right. There are, and I'm going to try to like pull from my knowledge that I've gotten from her because her and I actually, our businesses are really complementary. So like she comes in and does training with my clients all the time. So like LinkedIn, for example, like you don't want to do more than 5 hashtags on your post because that can be spammy. And then Instagram, you can have the most hashtags, and then Facebook, it's like a few less than that. And some people follow different rules, like, you know, you put the hashtag in the post, some people put the hashtag in the comments. When I asked her about that, she's like, it doesn't really matter. But again, different people are going to tell you different things because it's such this big, like monolithic beast that is always changing. So what is true today may not be true in 2 days from now. And that's part of the thing about social media that I think in particular for small business owners can be so frustrating because, you know, we're like, our resources are limited enough as small businesses. And it's like, how are we supposed to keep up with this giant beast? And the answer is you're not supposed to, right? Like just keep trying to evolve the best that you can and recognize that, you know, maybe you can support another small business in their endeavors by hiring them because that's what they're doing is they're trying to keep up on it. So what else? Was there anything else that jumped out at you, Suzanne, or any other questions? Well, just with kind of LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram, because that's what we're using the most. I understand that when you tag people, whether you do sort of like the @ symbol in the post or maybe tag them in a photo, do they get a notification that you've tagged them? Does it instantly show up on their feed? Do you know how that, like the if you tag somebody, how that kind of works for you?
Ask your question one more time. So yes, they do get notified. Okay. What was your other question?
Does it show up in their feed? Like, so if I post something and I tag another business, would my post show up in their feed or just get notified that I've tagged them?
The answer is it depends.
Okay.
So, and this is why social media is like, you know, because it just depends on what that business decides to do. Okay. Right? Like they may decide to keep all their stuff private. They may decide they don't want to be tagged. Okay. So it really is up to that business. Now, if you are doing any partnering, there are ways that you can make sure that you're kind of collaborating and having that conversation like, hey, I'm going to tag you in this thing. Like, let's walk through that together to make sure that it's there. You know, like I run a women's networking organization in Northern Colorado. And so like when we have speakers come in, we make sure that we tag those speakers in our posts to broaden the exposure. But often we have to be like, okay, so we did this, so now we're going to walk through, because they may not know, right? So if you really want to make sure that you're kind of holding their hand through that process so that you get that exposure, you can't just assume that it's going to be there, because it is dependent upon their settings. So.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Jenna, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, and hopefully maybe we got your microphone working, but if not.
It's Gina.
Gina, okay, I knew I was saying it wrong. Go ahead.
Her mic must not be working.
Okay. Oh, that was you saying Gina,
Yeah,
Lisa.
sorry.
Got it. Okay. No worries. Gina, do you want to drop your question or your comment in the chat box? That would be great. Anybody else? Who else learned something interesting or new in this part of the presentation? Nobody? That's okay, but I don't believe it's true. Anything new or anything you already knew and you're like, oh, I forgot about that. Okay. Well, Audrey, you unmuted. I saw you, girl.
I did know a lot of the stuff that you went over, so it was just kind of like reaffirming some of the things that I had already known. However, when you were talking about encouraging action, one of the things that stood out to me is sometimes I forget to have them do other things besides like click here and then it takes you to, because we do things like if the semester's starting and we want students to apply and this sort of thing, then it'll take them to a specific page for that on our website. But, more interactive things like taking a poll and then posting those, that kind of thing on, Facebook or Instagram stories and things like that. So that was just a good reminder for me to utilize tools like that I kind of left to the wayside, mainly because I don't have time.
Yes. Time. How many of you struggle with having the time to do social media stuff? Yeah. Okay. So how many of you don't struggle with the time? There were a couple hands I didn't see go up. So if you feel like you're like, I got this on lockdown, I've got all the time in the world to do social media stuff. Because I think all of us would love to pick your brain a little bit to understand, what is it that you're doing? And it could be that is literally just what your job is. And if that's the case, then that makes perfect sense.
So I have a question.
Oh, Lisa, yeah, go ahead. So
if we don't drive people to our website, what do we do instead of doing that?
So, well, you could drive them to sign up for your newsletter. You could drive them to download a freebie or something, because the goal is like you want to be capturing them so that you can do ongoing marketing to them, right? Because if you just have a hit to your website and then they never come back again, how many of us have like a million tabs open on our website, and then sometimes we're just like, I don't have time to go through this, I'm just going to close the whole browser, right? Even though there's probably some really cool stuff that you opened up and you probably wanted to pay attention to, but you just don't have time to bookmark it. So sign up for my website or my newsletter, enter this drawing. That's the other thing too, right? Like you can use fun little things like that to get people interested in joining your mailing list. And it doesn't need to be like $100 gift certificate to a thing. Like for you, Lisa, it could be like, a $5 gift card to a local business or something like that. Really to just be driving that list growth so that you can do ongoing marketing to those people And then through the email campaigns, you can then be messaging out to them like, hey, go check out our website, go check out our website. But that gives you that ongoing touch, because a website isn't like social media, right? People are constantly coming back to social media, but social media, your stuff isn't always popping up in front of them because the algorithms are always changing. Does that give you some ideas?
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. Great.
I'm not sure if my audio is working yet. Can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Gina, finally. I am so sorry. I had to dial in through my phone.
No worries. Happy you're here.
Just wanted to real quickly give a couple ideas. Back to the hashtag idea. I have always loved working from my computer and do a lot of my stuff from there because that's where my photos are at. But when you or myself do a lot on social media and doing advertising, there are a lot of amazing apps that you can download for free. And one of those is hashtag content creators, to where you can download that and you can type in your top 5 like topics like natural health, toxin-free living, whatever you want it to be. And the generator will actually create you the top 30 hashtags that are trending at that time. And then you can literally copy and paste into your post or your email, whatever it is you're doing. And then you don't have to go out and think of all the things, and you don't have to wonder if it's getting 1 million hits on the day or 1,000 hits on the day. So that's a super helpful thing. But then once again, it's on your phone. So copying, pasting is really easy when you are doing that type of creating from your phone. It does get painful, especially as we get older and you want to see the big screen compared to the little screen. But also on taking the time to create the content for social media, there are also apps that you can use, and you can pre-program your drops for social media content earlier in the week. I have done it to where I will spend a whole day Saturday and get one thing done for every day of the week for that month. And then I don't have to worry about it, except for be available to answer the questions and engage with people after the posts drop. So there are a lot of different trainings out there that will tell you like the best time of the day to be posting, which days you're going to get higher amounts of traffic. And so when you kind of follow those trends, you will start to see the engagement change also.
Perfect. Thank you, Gina. Yeah, we're going to talk through some of the different tools that are within Constant Contact, and then I'm going to show you some of my own behind the scenes because I feel like, you know, it's helpful sometimes to just see things in action and see what tools are out there. So thank you, Gina. Yeah, my social media manager does many of the things that you talked about for me. And so I'm here to pass on some of the wisdom that she does behind the scenes for me, in the hopes that maybe it'll help you with some of what you guys do in your businesses. But yeah, planning your content out is really a powerful way to find the time to do it. And so this is where, you know, I love what Gina said, you know, just kind of like take that time to sit and do it. And I'm a person who's like, yeah, I know that's yes, I understand. And if it was that easy and I was just able to sit and do it without getting lost in the sauce of just like looking at the blinking cursor on the blank Word document or whatever platform, because I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. Like, what am I supposed to post? What's the strategy of it? And I used to just kind of be like, oh, I have to do it when I'm inspired. And I think that's how a lot of businesses are, right? They're like, oh, or they'll be like in the mix of their day, they'll be like, oh, dang it, I forgot to put the post out today, right? And so really just like sitting down and having some sort of plan in place. And that's something that will evolve for you over time. So I'm going to show you a couple of tools that may be useful to you guys for planning your content. So let me just pull my screen over here. So one of the tools that my social media manager and I use is called Trello. And so Trello is a kind of like a visual tool that allows you to have content displayed in these different buckets, and it's really great for planning out your content. So as you can see, we've got all kinds of different things on here. But really at the heart of what I want to show you is like, we have developed this content week for my business. Now, it took us a little bit of time to really get to a place that like felt really good for me. But now that we've put this together, it feels really good. And so when we're sitting together and putting our plan, our strategy together, and we now do it 2 weeks at a time, but we didn't do that right away because for me, like I didn't like social media, especially if you are watching this recording or you're here live and you are a like solopreneur in a smaller business. And Lisa, I don't know like how much of your chamber demographic are like solopreneurs. You wouldn't mind just kind of popping on here and sharing.
I don't know, to be honest with you, I couldn't tell you right now. The more we have quite a few, you know, home-based businesses, and you know, your smaller groups, but we also have some huge industry that is chamber members. So it's probably equal amounts.
Oh, awesome. Okay, that's cool. So, you know, whether you are a bigger company or a smaller company, having some sort of framework for what your social weeks look like is really important. So for us, like we start the week off with like some sort of affirmation and a message. Tuesday is some sort of training. So like if you follow at Profit Coach, you'll see like today I'm going to be hopping on and doing just like a mini training like through a video. So I'll be like sharing a tip. Wednesday, we ask some sort of question. Thursday, there's also some sort of question that's usually a poll of some sort. And then Friday, we're sharing something that's more mindset based. So my business, I'm a coach, consultant, and trainer. And so this really fits well with my business. And with the Trello tool, what we do is we lay out on a Word document. And this is just, we've evolved to this, but we lay out on a Word document like what our platform or what our strategy is going to look like for that week. Like what is the affirmation and the message for Monday? What is the training topic I'm going to cover? You know, what's the thing I want to ask on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday? And so, you know, her and I work as a team, but she goes and then she creates the graphics related to that content. And that's worked out well for me. So for me, if I'm going to, and she used to write my content, but now I write my content, which it's taken a little bit of time to get there. But now that I understand what our strategy is, I'm really able to kind of be like, oh, okay, great. So I know what's going to happen on Wednesday. All right, great. Thanksgiving, I already got that post all written up. Friday, you know, we've got our mindset post. So she comes in and she creates the graphics and just drops them in here. And then I come into Trello and then I write the content in here and just kind of put it here. And then, you know, we have it with different labels for what they are, so that once we post it, then what we can do is take that card and easily click and drag it and move it on over here to published, or that it's scheduled. So we use a tool called Sendable. Constant Contact does have a tool, but my social media person uses this tool called Sendable, and she auto schedules all of the content in there, and we cross post everything to Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and that tool automatically knows like what the character limits are and all those things. And so it is a paid tool, but that is what her business is. And so it's a tool she invests in, and she uses it. But you don't need to use a paid tool. There are lots of different tools out there. And there is actually a way within Facebook Publisher that you can cross-post your Facebook and Instagram content right from within Facebook. So I'm going to show that to you. You do want to make sure that your Instagram and Facebook accounts are business accounts. So if you are a larger business and you're watching this, that's probably already the case. But if you are a smaller business and you're operating like your own company, you do want to make sure that your social accounts are business accounts, because what that allows you to do is it allows you to have the analytics. And you want to have analytics of what you're doing on social media so that you can really see what's happening, and that can inform your content strategy. So once my social media manager and I, her name is Amanda, so I can just use her name instead I keep having to say Amanda, and her business is Social Hero Brands. So when Amanda and I, as we were working together, when we really started looking at the content and what was really getting the most engagement, anything that actually had my photo on it, that was getting a lot more engagement versus something that was more generic, like, you know, like this Thanksgiving post, for example. You know, my picture's not on it. You can't see me, you can't see my personality. And I am a big part of my business. And when I first started working with her, I didn't have a lot of images because I had a photo shoot done like last June before my business was my own business. I had all these pictures with my former business partner. And so from like May through August, we were just trying to work with what we had, but then we ended up getting all these photos that I had done at a photo shoot. And so we've really been able to just like majorly up level. The other thing too, like our statistics were showing that like when we have gifts in our posts that like people like that. So something that has like video and action, that works well. And we were informed by the metrics about that. So those are the kinds of things that even if you're not working with the social media manager, that you can really be paying attention to, and then create your content based upon that. So I've really enjoyed using Trello. It's a free tool. You can use it. You can use it, you know, you can use there's lots of different tools out there that you can use to get yourself organized. But by getting organized and then sitting down and writing the content, it can be really powerful. Like the content from last week, I was traveling. I wrote my content on the airplane while I was like flying. You know, I moved my stuff to be offline available. All my graphics were already in Trello, and I just had to sit down and I kind of just like wrote that content. So it doesn't need to be hard. You just have to plan to do it. And that's just like most things in life and in business is like, you know, it's like the dishes. One of my clients uses this phrase, like we have to do the dishes, right? The dishes are always going to be there. They're always going to show up in our house because we need to eat. So like social media is like the dishes, right? Like just do the dishes, right? Like just sit and do it, make a plan for it so that you can just move it out of the way. But find a way to make it fun and enjoyable. So I've really enjoyed using Trello, and because I like this platform for just like the planning and the visual kind of aspect of it, and I can easily go back through here and look at like, what is the content that we made? Now this doesn't connect right to the social media platform, so this isn't where the analytics are, but does anybody have questions about Trello? I'd be happy to answer some questions for you about Trello, as I think it's a really great tool to help you with organizing your content. No? Okay, perfect. Let's see here. Okay, great. Yeah, so Gina, yeah, Angie puts together a lot of great ideas, images available, writes lots of ideas. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that resource with all of you. There's a great resource that looks like that Gina dropped in there. So Trello is really great. And yeah, you can go out, you can purchase content, and that's all fine and good. It really is dependent upon what you're trying to do in your business. So the next thing I want to do is I want to hop into Constant Contact's platform and just show you a little bit about some of the things that are available within that tool relative to the Constant Contact tool. So as I said, I don't use this for my social media, but I'm going to show you how it works because it does have some powerful integrations, and this presentation is sponsored by Constant Contact, so I do want to make sure that I spend just a little bit of time showing you what you can do in the back end, because if you are trying to save time using tools like this, as well as some of the tools that are built right into Facebook, which I'll show you after this Constant Contact thing, can be really powerful. So once you've written your content and you have your plan all laid out, if you have Constant Contact, you can link up your social media accounts here. So if you already have a Constant Contact account, you would just go under social, and then you would go to this accounts page, And then you can see, you can actually link your Facebook, your Instagram, your Twitter, and your LinkedIn accounts. And then you can manage all of those social account feeds through this social platform. So once you link them, then you can come over here to create, and it's going to ask you, what is it that you want to make? Are you making a post? Are you running an ad? Because you can run your ads right through the Constant Contact platform. So let's just click on post here for a moment. So you'll see that you do have the ability to schedule a post for later. So if you click that, now it's not going to do the thing where it recommends the best time for you. And that's where your analytics over time are going to be powerful. If you are using those analytics, you'll be able to see, like, when I post at 11 a.m. versus 8 a.m., like, is that getting more views? Is it getting more engagement? So you can use that to really inform yourself or your strategy. So, and then you'll go to select social profiles. So you can select more than one. So if I were to select both my Facebook and my Instagram, you're going to see that you have this information right here that's going to be really powerful. So you can see that Instagram has a character limit of 2,200, and then Facebook is 63,206. So you can see as you start typing, those numbers change, and it is creating that content, and it's giving you a preview of it over here on the right-hand side. So let me actually demonstrate it to you with some real content. So I'll pop over here to my Trello board and just grab something that's already happened, and we'll demonstrate that to you. Let's see. Okay, so, all right, so I'm gonna snag this post that we did last week. And now the thing that you wanna remember about Instagram is a platform that is based on images and videos. So Facebook, you can write a post that is just words and it doesn't require pictures. But if I were to try to publish this post on Instagram and I don't have an image, you're going to get an error because you have to have an image or a video in your post. So that's something that you're going to want to pay attention to. So let me just pop in this image here. And so you'll see it makes it really easy, and it shows you can have multiple images if you want, but we'll just go ahead and pick one image. So when you pick the image, you're going to see it gives you the ability to, if my computer decides to work, you'll be able to pick where that content is coming from. So you can upload it from your computer. You can pick it from your social feeds that are already connected. I'm not sure why this isn't working. But theoretically, you would pick your image, and then once you put the image, you'll have that ability down here at the right-hand side to either save it as a draft or you can schedule that post. So if we, and you can see this is saying you need at least one image. So it does make it kind of dummy proof so that you can easily do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just turn that off. This is more of an internet issue on my side here. But you can see, like, we already had our hashtags built in here. It does give you this shorten URLs option so that, like, you can save the character count by having shorter URLs. There's lots of different tools that help you do that, but the platforms often have these shortened tools right in there. And then you can schedule your post. What does it not like? It does not like this time. All right, so let's just change this to another day. Let's just say Thursday, and we'll schedule that post. What am I missing here? I'm not sure. It's probably because I don't use this for my business. So I have a feeling that something is not properly connected. So let's just save that draft here. I don't know what is going on. Okay, clearly this is something with my account because I don't use this for my social posting. So once you actually start using this, you'll have access to these analytics within Constant Contact. And again, this is not showing properly because I don't use this for my business, but you can see that the platform gives you access to the analytics. You can see your post history, and then you can also see all of your interactions in here. So when we first logged in here, you saw like you could see like the comments on the post and things like that. That is all right within here, within the social platform. So the other thing I want to show you is actually within Facebook itself, if you do not have a tool like Constant Contact, and let's say you just have the platforms themselves. So I'm going to pop over here to my business page, which is Profit Coach. And I don't know about you all, but I'm not excited about the new version of Facebook. I prefer the classic. But when you go to your business page, let me back up here and just slow down a little bit. You'll see that there is something called Publishing Tools. Now, if you are looking at it under the classic Facebook view, the publishing tools, you're going to access them. There's going to be a More button in this menu bar. That's where you'll access the publishing tools. But I'm going to go there from here. So once you are in the publishing tools section of Facebook, then you're going to go to this tool called Creator Studio. So when you go under Creator Studio, there's a few things, and I believe Facebook rolled this out earlier this year. And when Facebook rolled it out earlier this year, it's actually when I started using Instagram for my business, because I was like, oh, I can do Instagram on my computer. And that made me excited. So before I hired my social media manager, I did start using this Creator Studio as the place where I put my content, and I was scheduling my content, and I was putting my Instagram stuff in here. Now, you can cross-post from Instagram to Facebook, but you can't go the other direction. So what I mean by that, if you aren't using some special scheduling tool, or if you aren't using, like Constant Contact, for example, when you're in this Creator Studio, it will automatically have your Facebook business page on here, but you may need to connect your Instagram account. So you would just click this little icon at the top, and then it will ask you for your Instagram page information. So once you have your Instagram account linked, if you go to create posts, you can actually publish to IGTV, which is where you will be able to post longer videos into Instagram. They go into your IGTV feed, or you can actually post something. Oh, let's see. I need to mute somebody here. So you can actually go into here and click Create Post, and you can craft your Instagram post right here. So if I were to go here, okay, so it does also tell you that the characters, that you would need to actually edit your character limits on here. So if we were to do that on my post, let's see. I think I've got that content here. So if we were to put my content in here, that's the one that's chopped down for Instagram size. Then you scroll down and you can pick your content from your Facebook page, or you can upload a file. So if we pop over here and I grabbed this picture, actually this was a video, but I just saved it for right now as a picture. Then you can come over here and you can actually check this box off if you wanted to also cross-post it to your Facebook business page. You also can select a different publishing time for the Facebook post if you decided you wanted to do it at a time that is different than when you posted it to your Instagram post. You know, that part is up to you, whether you change and have different times where it's staggered. Different platforms may have different times when your audience is engaging. So again, the analytics over time are going to inform your posting strategy. And so you can schedule, or you could just click publish now, whichever makes the most sense. But for right now, I'll just choose schedule, and I'll just bump that out to a future date. And then you can see under advanced settings that there's some different things that you can do. So if you are, so once your business hits a certain level in Facebook and Instagram, you have the ability to do some branded content. So it gives you different abilities to tag partner businesses. So you can see Profit Coach has hit that level. So you can then come in here and you can manage your tags. You could also turn commenting off or on. So again, if you're trying to have a post that really is engaging with people, you will want to make sure that commenting is turned on for that. And then you also can write alternate text on your images for people that have visual impairments. That does make it more accessible for them to be able to consume your business's content. And so that is a little bit about the tools within the Content Creator Studio. So let me just show you what happens once you schedule that content on here, where you would be able to see that. So you can see your post is being scheduled, and once it's scheduled, it just shows up right here under this all content section. And so once it publishes, it'll show up as published, and then you have access to your insights. So under your insights tool is where you can really see all of the different pieces of data about your business. I was traveling for the last 2 weeks, so my analytics are not as strong as they were prior to traveling. But you can see that your analytics are going to be, you know, just different based upon the different things that you're doing in your business. And I had run a challenge a couple of weeks ago, and so my engagement during my challenge was like super duper high because I was really doing a lot of things in my social media around the Unlock Your Social Sales Strategy challenge that I was running. The same thing with your Facebook analytics. You can come over here and you can see all of the different analytics based upon the Facebook data that is out there. And again, you can change that period of time. So if you wanted to see just like what it was for the past month, you can change that period of time, and you can see, so this was the week that I was running the challenge. You can see my engagement during that period of time was really high because I was putting a lot of focus and effort and attention in. And then, you know, I was traveling and doing some other things for my business that really did not involve social media, so I wasn't as actively engaged. And if you're a small business owner and you're watching this, it's really important to not shame yourself and feel bad about those things, because your business is a living and breathing thing. And so it's not something that you need to feel bad about, especially if you're doing all of the things. You can't always be doing all of the things at the same level, because you are one human being. And so be ensured that you are paying attention to that. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a moment and just do a quick check-in. What questions does anybody have about some of the tools that I shared, or just anything that you're curious about? Y'all are a quiet bunch.
So, Greg here. So for the insight, I've been having trouble to go back like in a year's past, because like we do a lot of events, and then I would like to see our insights of our engagement when we were talking about those events in previous years. And it seems like I can only go back about 6 months. And I just want to know if there's something I'm doing wrong, or if it's only a 6 month period it will go back to.
That's a great question. I don't know the answer to it.
Okay.
I can definitely check with my social media manager because, like, this is her world. She lives and breathes it. So I imagine that she may have some more insights to that question than I would. Unless I know we've got a few people on this call that seem to have a little more experience in maybe doing some social media management. Any insights on that from anybody here on the call today? No? I'll be sure to check with her, and I'll get the answer over to Lisa to share with you, Greg. There is a custom field. Have you played with the custom calendar?
Yeah, and it only seems like I can go back 6 months. So
Okay.
I just don't know if I'm not clicking something correctly or if I'm just not going to the right place.
Yeah.
Or I go back 6 months.
Yeah. Okay. Not sure. I'll see if I can get some insights to that, and I'll share that with Lisa so that she can pass it along to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're totally welcome. Perfect. Any other questions or things that you're curious about with some of the tools? If not, the next thing I'm going to talk about is stories. Who's excited about stories? Yay, stories. Okay. Who here knows about stories? All right. Audrey, I'm going to ask you to share what you know about stories.
Yeah, I fell so on the spot. Well, so you can do stories on Instagram and you can do stories. Are they called stories though on Facebook? Yeah.
Yes.
What I like about stories is that we do on Instagram particularly, one of the things that I do is if we have messaging that we want to put in the highlights, then we put it in the stories first and then we save it and put it in our highlights. Like when we had COVID, we wanted to tell people about like the guidelines that we had for the college and wearing masks and all that kind of thing. And so we created a story series and then saved it and put it in our highlights. Stories are also good for doing polls, and that's something that I need to be better at.
You can be better at it. Don't shame yourself. Perfect. Yeah, thank you so much for sharing, Audrey. So if you have no idea what Audrey's talking about, that's totally okay. So in the social media land, you have what's called your news feed. And your news feed is sort of like, it's always there, right? That content, once you put it on your news feed, it's there and people can go back and they can look at your feed. The stories are more content that is, it's there and then it's gone. So for example, like looking at my business's strategy. So we create a strategy for what each week's content is going to look like. But then the story allows me to kind of pop in and share a little bit about like what's going on right now, right? And maybe I don't want it to be memorialized on my entire newsfeed board, but I want to show people that it's happening. So like, for example, I was like traveling. So if I wanted to be like, hey, traveling, to, do some work on my upcoming virtual summit, that's not something that I need memorialized in my news feed, but I want to keep people apprised of like, this is a thing that's happening. So like if you're running sales, for example, and you're trying to drive, or registration for something, and you just want to do like some extra pushes out there on the content, you can use the stories feature to really get more visibility in that. The other thing too, just like all of the other things in the marketing world, is that people consume content differently in different places. So some of your people read their email all the time. Some of your people hang out on LinkedIn. Some of your people hang out on Facebook. So the same is true in the social world. There are some people that are actively going into their feeds, and there are some people, they never look at their feed. They're only looking at stories. Stories is a newer feature. How many Is that true for any of you? Like you look at stories more than you do news feeds? Yeah. So I didn't used to, but then when I sort of figured out like what stories were, I was like, oh, that's kind of really interesting because it allows me to just have that bite-sized content of like what's going on for this person. And then if I really want to dig a little bit deeper, I can then click on their profile and then dive deeper into what they're doing. So because stories are not widely adopted, I would strongly recommend that you all that are on this call here or watching the recording get on the stories, because since not all businesses are doing it, it's a great place for you to have more visibility. And so let me show you what I'm talking about. So let me share my screen here. Give me a moment. All right. So here we go. So if we go over to Facebook, we can see that down here, we've got our news feed, right? So this is, you know, all the people, and somebody's running an ad trying to get us to click on their thing and be in their boot camp. And, you know, this is just all the regular stuff. And, you know, you have to stop and you have to read. Whereas stories, if I click on stories, it's going to give me these little quick highlights and it automatically just scrolls through. And so it allows, that's really loud. I'm going to mute my stories. So it allows you just to kind of have this like bite-sized view of like whatever's happening. And I can choose to click through a little faster, like, oh, what's Amanda doing? Oh, look at her dog. Oh, okay, how cute. Whoa, it's snowing in Colorado, right? And so you really can kind of see these different things. And with stories, it's about, I feel like it's about movement, right? And so you really can kind of just see what is going on for this person. And so you can add in your stories hashtags, and you can add pictures, you can overlay words. In Facebook, you have the ability to add music. In Instagram, there are some people who have access to add music to their stories as well, because they're rolling out different features to different people at different times. And so you'll see that it says archive here. So the archive really is, once something is in your story, eventually it goes away. So if somebody wanted to go and see my story archive, they would actually have to like click the archive and view it in the archive. But you can see how the way that I use stories is I often will take my business page posts and I will post my business page content out to my personal page, because I do have a lot of small business owners that just are in my regular friends list who aren't yet following me over at Profit Coach. So I use the stories as a way to kind of keep them apprised of like, you know, what are the things that are going on? And you can add, again, these little GIFs, you can add all kinds of different things. I personally have become really comfortable with using the stories tool on my cell phone device. Once you do it a couple of times, it becomes easier and easier. But you can see it's like, you know, I'm giving glimpses into my business, giving glimpses into like regular life. You can post stories on your business accounts as well as on your personal page. Same thing on Instagram. So on Instagram, if I were to go out to my Instagram homepage, obviously, Audrey, I was looking at your business page there, but this up here at the top is where you're going to see the stories that are published. So up here, like if I wanted to click through the stories, I could kind of scroll through them here. Or if I just wanted to click and watch them, I could just And some people record longer videos, and that video content just kind of, they break it out. The story video content is in 15-minute bites. And so there are different ways that people can, there's a lot of different free tools out there, as Gina was mentioning, that are available. There are so many out there that I don't know them all. At the end of this call, I have an invitation for you to actually connect with my social media manager. She's amazing. She's changed my business, and she has offered to extend a really great opportunity for you guys to connect with her. So I'll extend that offer to you to just have a free call with her regarding social media. But there are so many different ways that you can utilize the stories feature. And it is important to make sure that you are connecting with people in a variety of different ways, because you don't know what your audience is doing, right? And like, you need to start doing different types of ways of connecting with them and seeing what really. The days that I am active in my stories, which isn't all the time, right? Like, I am very much I take more of an intuitive approach in my business. And so if I'm like not really feeling aligned with doing stories because whatever's happening in life or business, like, then I'm going to be like, all right, well, at least I know my content's out there and I'm not doing a lot of stories. But when I do stories, I do see a change in how people are engaging in my content. So, it's important to know that, try different things, pay attention to the data so that you really do have a sense of what is going on and where your people are and how they're engaging with you. LinkedIn, I've not really gotten into this, but I'm going to pull up LinkedIn here and kind of share that the thing about the news articles that I wanted to mention, that I mentioned to you guys earlier, that you can harness for finding relevant news and information that your audience might appreciate. So when you are on LinkedIn, this top right corner here shows you the trending news according to LinkedIn. And so as a business, especially if you are a larger business and you have like a social media team and you are, you're managing this and trying to figure out like, how do we really engage with people and be positioned as somebody that knows what's happening in our industry or in our business, you can really use this LinkedIn news and say, oh, wow, like this stuff is really taken off. Like if we wanted to, like if you were an HR person and, you were posting something about office romance, you could, take this article and take a look at it and see how it relates. And then, kind of say, oh, wow, okay, what's going on here? Maybe this is relevant to my audience. I'm going to share this. And then you can share it and you can write a little post about it. You can also then, in most of the platforms, cross-share your content onto different platforms. So this LinkedIn news is pretty cool because it allows you to really see like, what are people reading and paying attention to? So obviously, traveling is, dangerous according to the CDC with the coronavirus surges that are going on right now. The recall, that's been a big news, right? So there's lots of different ways that you can pay attention to what's trending and figure out, how does this fit in with what my audience might be interested in? And then utilize that as a way to gain exposure and engagement with your people. So we are nearing the end of our time. There's always so much more that you can cover than time allows. There are a couple of tips last minute that I want to share with you about the stories, because it was something that I learned that I thought was really interesting. So who's down for a fun activity? Show me your hands. Hey, fun activities. Can you tell that I worked in HR and I loved doing training and getting people who like didn't really want to be engaged to actually engage? That part of me will never die, will never go away. So let's see here. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Do all of you have Instagram accounts for your businesses or for yourself? I think so. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So what we're going to do, we're going to craft a story. You guys ready? We're going to craft a story. So what I want you to do is I want you to grab your cell phone, and you're totally welcome to delete this when you're done, but you're going to grab your phone, and we're all going to give a thumbs up with one hand, and we're going to take a picture of what we're doing on our screen here on with the other with the camera. Okay, so thumbs up, snap a picture. Perfect. All right, so now I want you to open your Instagram on your mobile device, or open the picture, and there's usually a little sharing thing on the bottom of your phone, so you could also click the sharing button. Okay. So you're gonna find the Instagram logo, and there should be one that says stories. Obviously, this is a little different on everybody's mobile device depending upon what you're using. So I'm gonna click Instagram stories. So when you are in your stories, it's gonna pop up with the picture, of course. And then there's all these different icons at the top. So you could click this like little square face looking guy, and that's gonna pop up with a search box. And when you click on the search box, I know it's hard to see, but there's something, you could add a GIF, you could add hashtags, you could mention. So one of the things I want you to do is I want you to click on the GIF button, and now we're going to search. So type in, you know, maybe learning or fun, whatever you want to do. So I'm going to do learning, and then you can drop that GIF on your thing and you can move it around. The other thing too is like when you can use your fingers to kind of move and drag things around. You also can, oops, hang on here. I'm going to delete that GIF for a minute. Before I add my GIF, I'm actually going to move the picture. So do you see how like I can like tilt the picture, I can make it bigger or smaller. Maybe you guys already knew these things, but this is something that 40-year-old Allison just learned recently because Instagram was hard for me because I don't like to do things for my business on my cell phone. But now I've gotten better. So now I'm gonna add my learning GIF. I've kind of changed the size of my picture. I've tilted it a little bit. I'm gonna go back to my GIFs, and I'm gonna search for, I'm gonna put a heart because I love learning and I love being here sharing with you guys today. So I'm gonna just add a little heart. So now, 2 more things we're gonna do. I want you all to go back into that little square guy and click on the mentions. We're going to mention at GR Chamber. So what we're doing is we're going to help the Green River Chamber get some exposure. How about that, Lisa? Yay. So click the @mention button and type GR Chamber. Okay. And then hit enter or hit done. And then you're going to add another one. And if you'd be kind enough to do @Profit Coach, PROFFIT Coach. Okay. And this is going to be good not just for you, but it's also good for the other business as well. So rising tides lift all boats, and so we like to help each other. So, and then once you put those mentions, you can then just kind of use your finger and click them and move them. If you click on them, they'll change colors, all these different cool, fun visual things. And then the other thing, so remember what I said about hashtags and how hashtags make your things searchable. You guys remember that? So there is a way that you can add hashtags through that little GIF tool, right? But you might not want those hashtags all over your picture, right? But you still want the hashtags to be there. So a cool thing that I learned is if you go to the text box and click this little text, like just click the letters. And so here you can type in hashtags in a text box. And what I'm going to show you is we're actually going to put the hashtags here. We're going to type them out. It's going to look really weird and ugly. And then we're going to actually shrink it way down, and we're going to make the color of it so that it matches the background. And then we're going to move it and hide it. So it's there, but it's not visible. Okay. So I'm going to just do hashtag profit coach. I'm going to do, and you'll see as you start typing in the hashtags, they kind of show up. So hashtag GR Chamber, not sure if you guys use that hashtag or not. Hashtag small business tips. Hashtag constant contact, right? So we're kind of getting, you know, I didn't do hashtag research for this, but you know, these are probably a wide array of hashtags, right? Constant contact has a big following. Small business tips probably has a big following. Profit coach, GR Chamber, probably not so much. So once you're here, do you see this little drag bar that can like make it big or make it small? You can really change the font size. Okay. So you're going to change it to the smallest size possible. So just drag it all the way down. And then at the top, there's this little button that has the colors. You see the color wheel? So if you click on that color wheel, you're going to then see this little like dropper icon that shows up. Go ahead and click that little dropper icon. And then what you're going to do is wherever you can find like a blank space. So I'm going to click this black color because I'm going to make it match this black color. For you, if it's like maybe you want to make it this white color that matches the picture, you're just going to click wherever it is that there's like a blank space. And now you can see it's hard to see the text, right? And that's okay because that's what we want. So I'm going to hit done, and then I'm going to make sure, so the text is actually black and it's really tiny and it's in the middle of my picture. So I'm going to actually find that text and I'm going to drag it. You see how it's like you can sort of see it now that I'm dragging it. I'm going to drag it and I'm going to just hide it up here. Okay. So you can't see it, but those hashtags, since I added them, now this story that I'm going to post is searchable. Isn't that amazingly cool? Yeah, I think it's cool. Maybe I'm just a nerd. I'm not sure. But so those are just some little tips. Lisa, do you have any final closing thoughts? Does anybody have any final questions? I'm going to drop a link here in the bottom for the amazing Amanda Mundo. She's my social media person. I would not share her information if I didn't think that she would be able to up-level anything that I've already shared with you, but she offers anybody that I come in contact with a free connection call, and then she also has a really awesome social media optimization offer that she'll help you like set up your Trello board. She'll do hashtag research. She does a platform audit for you, so if you're already using a social media platform, she'll actually go through and do an audit of that. So if that's something that you're interested in taking advantage of, she really has been like a game changer for my business, and she's really, really brilliant at what she does. So, and of course, I'm going to drop my contact information as well. I hope that you guys have a fantastic Thanksgiving holiday. Lisa, is there anything else that you'd like me to share or cover in these last couple moments? And while Lisa is doing that wrap up, I'd love for you to drop in the comments what your favorite takeaway from today was.
I just wanted to thank you, Allison, for taking the time to be able to do this. We greatly appreciate, you know, we're always trying to look for training sources and stuff like that. And this is something that we've never done before. You know, being able to take advantage of the Zoom meeting since we're all trying to stay away from each other right now. So, you know, to be able to connect with one another. And there's a few of you guys I haven't seen, you've seen your face for quite a while. So I was excited to see see your face on the screen today. So I greatly appreciate everybody taking advantage. And if this is I'll just, I'd like to your feedback if this is something that you'd like for us to pursue, whether it was beneficial to you. We'd like your feedback on that, as far as if you guys would like to do this again, and maybe just a different, maybe not social media, but something else that's interest of you. We would greatly appreciate your feedback on it. And Allison, thank you once again. You did a great job, and we really appreciate taking the time out of your day to do this for us. Allison did this free of charge for the Green River Chamber, and so we will be able to pass that on to our members free of charge. So anytime that we can take advantage of free training, I'm all for that. That's for sure. With all of our budget cuts and everything, we have to take advantage of that when we possibly can. But thank you so much. You are, like I said, I've never met you before, and you did a great job. And I hope that everybody got something out of this, and look forward to working with you in the future, Allison. Definitely. Thank you.
Oh, yay. Awesome. Well, I know we talked about some of the other, the sales stuff, like the teaching about sales and that kind of stuff is like actually totally where my passion lies. And just doing some mindset work around that, and teaching all the things that I learned at Constant Contact. So, or more Constant Contact stuff, that would be lovely as well. So it was an honor to be here, and Audrey and Suzanne and those of you that hopped in and participated. I appreciate all of you guys, and yeah, thank you so much. To be continued, I say.
Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful day. Appreciate everybody.
Thank you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Lisa, do you mind staying on for a moment?
Absolutely.
Oh, if you want to stop the recording too, that'd be great.